Yo, 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 good morning. Yo, dudes, how you all doing this morning or this afternoon or this evening, whatever time it is in your time zone? We've got a really sick series starting on the channel today. Mitto, you've seen his GT86 in previous episodes. It's the red one with the Blitz body kit. Looks pretty goddamn sick. He was going to be doing a turbo conversion on a boxer engine. He's now going to be doing a SR20 conversion, so pretty goddamn exciting. Fucking hell, it's hot in here. That's because it's at 30 degrees, you numpty. Mitto's actually quite a recognisable chap. He was in the Outsiders movie, the one made by Driftworks when they went to Japan. It's quite a few years ago now. I think it was about 2012. I'll put a link in the description for it. He's quite a knowledgeable chap. He's done loads of drifting, loads of judging in different competitions. He's been to Japan numerous times. He's definitely been to JDM school, so hopefully we'll get a bit of knowledge and intel off him as the series progresses. Oh my god, look at this Space Cadet. How have they done that? Can you see that? Woohoo! How the fuck did they crash on a straight, man? Jesus Christ. Anyway, I will stop gibbery jabbering. I'll see you guys down at the farm very shortly. Sick. What's this bad boy over here? Chaser. That's a Laurel.
Laurel.
Sick. Whose Laurel's this?
Danny Neville?
That's Danny Neville's.
Yeah.
Mad. Has he always had this?
No, he's got it recently.
Oh, right.
Really recent.
Mad, man. So RB
25 Neo.
Sick. Pretty pimp though, isn't
He
it?
did tell me, I just...
Check out that badge, man. Cool, isn't it?
It's literally like...
It's kind of like a Chaser, but not.
Yeah, it's like the Nissan Chaser, really, isn't it?
Yeah. The front, because the front's almost got those little quad lights like the Chasers, isn't it? So you don't get the dark bits. That's pimp. Is it open?
Yeah, I think so.
We've got velour interior. Very pimp. So yeah, this is like Nissan's equivalent of a JZX RB25, so 2.5 turbo.
It's like an S14 steering wheel, it's been re-tripped.
Yeah, you're right, actually, yeah.
Wood, isn't it? So,
That's cheeky. It's got a little TV screen or a little screen of some sort, a little Nismo shift knob. 4-up skids as well. We like 4-up skids. I'm going to try and do some 4-up skids at Matsuri in Dave's JZX 100, yeah. R32 GTR, which I unfortunately missed the coilovers on, which I'm very disappointed.
Mr. Coilos, and we did the diff bushes.
Probably my favourite car you've ever had here. And that's saying something because there's been quite a few nice cars here.
Yeah, that's... It's just got to have the welding bits done now.
Yeah, like the chassis and stuff.
Yeah.
And what's this cheeky one? We've got another R32 GTST.
This is 32 GTST running RB20, literally just been imported from Japan.
Looks quite standard.
Very, very standard. Yeah, very original. Even original exhaust. Like,
who imported it?
DSI.
DSI, shiny.
Yeah.
Sick, man. What you did to it, Scousey?
So we're just doing a quick check over for it now while it's just before its MOT. Yeah. And then once the MOT's done, it'll come back here, get it undersealed while it's waiting to be registered, and then the guy can take it away.
Has Sean sold this already?
Yeah, it's already sold. It was imported for a customer. I think it was bought to order.
Ah, cool, man. It's nice to see. You don't really see them standard, do you? It's quite cool, man. They're the standard wheels as well, aren't they? Yeah. GTS2 wheels. It's cool.
Yeah, like literally everything is original.
Nice colour as well. I've always liked this sort of R32 metallic grey colour.
It's nice.
It's pimp, isn't it? Got some nice motors down here, man. How's the old S14 1J going?
Yeah, that's fine. Basically, we're swapping the diff over at the moment, but I need some other shims for it. So
putting a CAS two-way in it?
CAS two-way in it, so I'm just getting some other shims for that so it sits right.
Hi.
Hi.
Right, we've got bad boy GT86, and it's looking a lot more like a car.
Yeah, got it back from the body shop end of last week. All straight, all painted, all looking beautiful again.
Does look sick, man. Let's have a look under the bonnet. 2J? Oh man, what's it got that in there for?
This is the temporary engine.
It is, yeah. So just explain to the audience why you got Boxer in there and not 2J.
Because I have to work harder before I can get a 2J in there at the moment. So just put the original engine back in just so I can use it, because I would hate to have this car sitting around being a project car and not actually be able to use the thing. So that's just sitting in there for now. Are
you going to start doing things like body kit, or was the main aim now just to get it as a running car and then you can start doing the conversion?
Then going to get a body kit onto it, so I can run wider wheels, bigger brakes, and then we can start doing the 2J stuff.
Cool.
But there's no point having all go and then can't stop it, can't control it.
And the good thing with this is you've still got a mint engine, so effectively once you put the 2J in, you can flog this and make some money back.
6,000 mile engine.
Yeah, man. What do they go for? Any idea?
I think without ancillaries, you've got to be still $2,500.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. What's that? Cheeky little airbox.
Yeah, Mitto airbox. So it's got like an induction kit inside there.
Yeah, that's quite snazzy, isn't it?
But yeah, it's just an airbox just to keep it from the heat. Because obviously you have got the manifold right down here.
Oh yeah, cool.
The original airbox was smashed up, so it's like if it's broken, upgrade it.
Yeah.
Same with the radiator.
And lovely colour as well. I'm a big fan. I mean, I like the grey sky outside, but this is a sort of darker, sort of gunmetal grey.
It's slightly darker and it's got a bit of flake in it. So
yeah,
in the sun, it's actually got a blue and like a silver kind of flake in it, which is really, really nice.
Lovely colour, that, man, isn't it? Really like that. Right. Anyway, enough gassing. We've done enough stuff on your GT86 for 1 month. the audience doesn't want to see it until it's got a 2J in it, so get on with it. Right. Next up, we've got Mr. Mitto. I was bigging you up in the car, saying you were like proper JDM. You've been to Japan like loads of times. You speak fluent Japanese. How you doing, bro?
Say some swear words. Yeah.
Obviously, I put this car on the channel a little bit before.
Yeah.
But you were slightly undecided on what sort of route you were going to go with your engine.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the beans can be spilled now on what actually happened.
Well, I might have given it away on the way in the car.
Oh, really? That's fine then.
Yeah, sorry, boys.
Yeah, a bit of a bad stroke of luck.
So just briefly run us through the story behind your GT86.
Well, you can't see on Simon's because he hasn't got the original airbox, but you've got all this air intake system, a little tube down here. And this little tube is just about the size of a rat to get through. So basically, rats decided to do that. Lived on my airbox, fired the engine up, sucked everything in.
So you had like an infestation, basically.
Yeah, and this was like November time. So basically, the car's been here since December, I believe. Just waiting on insurance to kind of decide what to do because it is covered in my policy. It's worth checking.
Yeah.
If you've got that, 'cause it happened to me. So yeah, we're waiting for them to kind of sort themselves out. They're dragging their heels, and I was going to put another FA engine in it, you know, the flat 4 engine.
Yeah, another boxer.
Yeah, I got offered one of them. It's forged, big turbo, and all that sort of thing, 400 horsepower, and that sort of was dragging out as well. And then oddly enough, that thing there was offered to me. Now that engine is out of my competition car from 6 years ago. So it's maybe 7, not sure. Getting on, go and see now.
So
anyway,
is it fully built?
That's the serious engine. So that's basically the only standard internal part is the crank, I believe.
Ah, crazy.
But the engine originally came from Yokoi, who runs Mind Control, drives in D1. So I got the engine off him. It was blown up, so I rebuilt it, and now it's HKS liners, HKS rods, CP 87mm pistons. 1.2mm gasket. It's had the quench removed, so I don't know if you've seen the SR head, you've got like the little extra bits,
Yeah.
so yeah, all that's sort of been
and what litre
scooped
is
out
it?
of it. Well, it's 2.1, so in theory the parts that are there should do 600
Crazy, man.
horsepower.
Yeah.
I ran it at 400, did a season with it, literally like 8-10 events, never skipped a beat, never had a failure. And came out of the car, and then I sold it to my buddy because I was kind of poor at the time, and he literally put it in his garage, never used it, so it's come here like absolutely filthy. And
Yeah,
now
crazy.
I couldn't say no to it going in there.
What sort of turbo setup are you thinking of running on this built engine?
Well, you should know because I've got a real good delivery driver.
Yeah, I've got the turbo, but I haven't looked inside it yet.
It is to start with. So the plan is we're going to get the engine in there. We're going to get it running, make sure it's reliable, make sure everything works, because there's only one other SR GT86 in the world, a company called Zeek Power in Japan. So go on Facebook, find them, it's fast, have a look at that.
Crazy. So it's a super rare conversion.
This will be like number 2 in the world, as far as I know.
As you know, yeah.
So we want to get it in, get it reliable, get it working, and then 2019 we're going to go, you know, as we go along, we'll just up the power. So we've got a TD06 20G.
20G.
I think it's an 8 centimetre, so that basically means it's a bit more response rather than top power.
Slightly smaller exhaust housing.
Yeah, so that should do about 400, 420, I guess, maybe a push on this engine. And then we're going to run an Emu Black. It's going to be done by ECU Master. And obviously, Trust Intercooler, Koyo Rad. I'll probably do I'm going to try and get a long Mokel oil cooler to sit in the middle there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just about, initially it's about reliability and making the thing work. But the deciding factor with an SR, and I guess it's just my logic, is the best handling drift car I've ever driven has always been a Silvia. You get in them, you throw them around, they just work.
Great chassis.
Exactly, yeah. So the problem with the GT is, you know, a lot of people don't get on with the electric steering, and the front engine, well, the entire suspension geometry is a bit difficult.
Yeah.
You know, I've spoken to numerous people around the world that are running, like, you know, Formula D cars, D1 cars about it, and my logic just says to me, the Silvia drives well, so stick that in there and you've got room for everything that runs on a Silvia. So effectively, if we make a cross member, then we can run Silvia arms, Silvia knuckles, Silvia tension rods, like Silvia rack. So you turn in the front end into a car that works.
Yeah, and eliminating some of the sort of front suspension issues you have with the
GT86. Simon's is probably easier to look at. So basically, this is where it gets complicated. So down here at the bottom you've got the kingpin, and the kingpin has a particular angle, and then you've got the angle between the kingpin and the knuckle, and then the kingpin and the upper mount. So the kingpin and the upper mount is called the SAI. So basically the SAI angle on this is really steep. So what happens is, as you rotate, you can already see the wheels leaning over. So these run quite neutral setups. From the factory, you know, the camber's like it's like 1 degree or something. Yeah. So what happens is because the knuckles set up like this, and you know they come with like budget tires on effectively to slide around. So what it does, it gives you a lot of control with a budget tire.
Yeah. When you start running shitloads of grip.
Exactly. Yeah. It bites and it pulls and it does all sorts of stupid things. Plus the track width is all nutty. So that has got like, I think the 35mm spaces on the front and 45s on the rear with like a 9.5 and 10.5, so everything gets exaggerated. So if you imagine normally the face of the wheel would be on the hub here, it's like 35mm out plus the extra offset of the wheel plus the extra width of the wheel. So where your wheel would normally be here, it's actually over here. So so many strange things are happening. Your scrub radius goes all wonky, so it's just a bad setup, which is why you see, you know, the Wisepad setup, they move the tops of the strut out.
Across,
They're moving the whole assembly out to make it work. And they transfer weight very quickly. So if you brake, the weight goes forward. And if you accelerate, the weight goes back, which obviously, when you've not got a lot of grip, is absolutely fine.
But when you've got loads of grip up
front. I've had some moments in that. it just pings the weight in. So I think on Chris's one, he's running the PBM knuckles. Yeah. Basically, the way they get more angle is they move the pivot point of the knuckle forwards, so they move it closer to its axis. So what happens then is that a smaller movement has more response. More input, So it doesn't necessarily, it'll give you more angle ultimately, but also it'll make it more twitchy. So and the car's twitchy anyway, so it's just exaggerated. That's why, I mean, I've had various, let's call them debates with people online. There's a lot of conflicting ideas. So my idea is just to remove the problem.
In the first place.
It just makes more sense.
That's really
now, when we're doing it, I'll probably hate it.
So first things first, we're going to have a quick cup of tea, because we're British.
As always.
And then we're going to go and show you guys hopefully how a thermostat works, if it does work.
I hope so.
Yeah, me too.
It's been sat there a while, but it's a posh one. So.
Once we've had our cup of tea, we're going to run through things like the intercooler setup, engine mounts, and any other stuff we haven't covered so far.
Yeah.
Are we having chai or coffee? Tea or coffee? Coffee? I'm feeling a bit of coffee.
That comes out, and then that's thermostat inside.
Sweet.
So what happens is inside here is like a wax. So as the wax gets hot, the thermostat opens. So this spring should compress, and then it'll leave a gap here. So this is your normal radiator flow when it's cold. It's like almost nothing. And then as the engine warms up, it allows the water to move through the system. But this one is a Nismo one. So if you look on your thermostat, you should always have like a little bit of a temperature on there.
Yeah.
So this one is 62, so it's super low.
What's the normal one open at?
I think it's like 76, maybe.
Yeah.
I can't really remember. It's been a while, but effectively, that just means your water is moving around the system a lot sooner than it normally would be. A big problem with drift cars is that if they're super hot, and then the thermostat suddenly opens after you've been beating on it for a while, then it can shove a load of colder water through, which can actually crack your block.
Damage.
Yeah.
Cool.
Sorry.
And that's a Nismo one.
This one's Nismo, yeah.
I bought a few SARD ones in my time. They're pretty JDM, aren't they?
Same difference.
Same company.
I think SARD's probably cooler because these are easier to get.
Comes in the blue packet. So.
Yeah, exactly. I think, is it blue? Does it look any different? Say SARD. Did you get a sticker?
Definitely get a sticker. Mate,
if you get a sticker, it's better. That's that. But
all right, should we get a cup?
We need a cup.
There's a cup.
That'll do. You basically do that.
Chuck that in there.
And then wait for the kettle to boil.
Mitto, you are the dedicated pouring person.
Right,
let's do it.
The kettle is literally just boiled, so in theory, this little nipple here should move.
I must point out, you must be very safe when doing this.
Yeah, don't put your finger in it.
Yeah.
Right, so that should get warm, and there you go. Start moving. That's not bad after 6 years, is it?
Yeah, man.
So when you're looking at it, like your thermostat should, open right out. You don't want it to just open a mill. You want it to really compress and be out of the way, so you can get enough flow of water through the engine.
Yeah, cool.
Otherwise, it's just as bad as it not opening at all. But yeah, effectively, so that's opened. We know that works. So this will be nice and hot.
Just show us the valve open.
So that's open. See the gap down the back.
Yep.
And then basically, if we stick that under the cold tap, you'll literally be able to watch it move.
Yeah, there it goes. Sweet.
And then completely closed again.
So if you've ever wondered how a thermostat works, well,
that's how it works, and that's how you test it. It's really easy. Another one.
Yeah, if two GT86s wasn't enough, we've now got 3. What's up, boys?
What's happening?
Yo.
Right. Hello, man.
Hi, man.
Young Jake.
Yo.
How you doing?
Yo, good, you?
S15 coming
Hi,
in.
dude.
Nah, man.
Ah,
About 6 weeks, isn't it?
Right,
you sleeping alright?
Yeah, not really.
When I was at Garage 21 the other day, Dave actually gave me Mitto's turbo for his SR build, which I've got in my car here.
I don't actually know what this one is. I think it's a 20G, but I don't know what size housing it is.
It's been rebuilt.
It has.
Is it by Midland Turbo?
Midland Turbos.
Oh, cool.
That is pretty mint.
Yeah, cool, man.
So the way to check it's a journal bearing turbo, so it's an old like thrust style bearing. So basically with these, if you get a little bit of play on them, it's kind of okay, because once they get pressure, they're solid. But that is solid anyway.
Say a little bit of side to side is not so bad, but in and out.
In and out is the worst one, because obviously it's like banging on the bearing.
Yeah.
But yeah, that looks pretty good to me, and it should now have a number in this housing to say what size it is. Oh, wrong outlet. That's why. It doesn't have one. So I guess we're never going to know unless I start measuring things. But I'll be honest, I'm not quite sure how to do that.
And what sort of size external wastegate are you going to run on this?
So I'm going to go with a 44mm, which really is basically the way this says a small turbo, big wastegate, big turbo, small wastegate, because the odds are if you're running a big turbo, you're running high boost, so you don't need to bleed off as much boost. So for accuracy, that's kind of what you do. So with this, a 44mm is sort of sitting in the middle, where at some point, obviously, I'll be putting a bigger turbo on, and it should sort of cover both of them.
That one there, that's actually got is it a factory, some sort of aero kit, isn't it?
It's
that's a Toyota kit.
That's the aero package, so you can get the normal one. You can get like a motorsport one in Japan, which is like completely basic.
Yeah.
It has I think it has windy windows even. And then you get the normal one that me and Simon have got, or that mine was. And then you get the aero, which is this one.
Yeah.
And then you get the TRD version. And then there's another TRD version, which is, I forgot what it's called, like a 144 or something it's called.
So this is identical suspension, identical engine, it's just literally just the body, aesthetics.
Yeah, literally it's just cosmetic stuff.
Yeah. And OZ wheels as well. I think they're factory. I'm pretty sure they come with those from Toyota.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
It's quite cool, isn't it?
It's nice to see that, regular tyres on front and 8008s on the back.
Wrong way around, man.
That's always a good setup.
Yeah, if you want to follow Shawnee's Instagram, there it is.
The fuck is this? I mean, Sponsorship, yeah, but this looks like I'm a distribution warehouse. What the fuck?
That is the biggest banner I've ever seen in my life.
It's too big for here. I don't think it will actually go up. I might have to put it on the ceiling just for
explain
space.
the story, Scouse. You told them the dimensions of your one, which is up there.
So, Jamie K from Strongflex said, I will sponsor your GT86, have whatever you want, can I put a poster up? Yes, of course you can, mate, no problem. This is dimensions of the Cars and Performance poster. This, you know, what the hell?
So you grabbed this intercooler from Jack West Mods?
Jack West Mods, which is that way.
And it's a Greddy.
It's a Greddy intercooler, so genuine brand spanking. Got it for really good money. He's got like tons of stuff in there. He's a bit of a nerd like me, so he's got some like real choice bits in there. Even stickers. I love stickers.
And the Radiator as well?
Radiator I got from Fensport. It's a genuine Koyo rad.
Yep.
I swear by Koyo radiators. So especially if you run an SR, just run a Koyo rad. I also swear by the viscous fans on SRs. I don't know if I can make that work with this, but it has got two massive sort of OEM fans on the back. So hopefully there'll be enough, but we'll see.
Cool.
So you know, with an SR, got to use genuine stuff, man, or it just spits it out at you.
What's the very first step with this SR conversion?
Well, what I'm doing now is really what we should be doing is hoiking the engine in there, seeing where it's going to sit, see what clearance we've got.
Fitment.
Yeah, but obviously, like Simon is helping me out with this one. You know, letting me use the workshop space and everything, which is really nice of him. So it's going to take a couple of us to do that. Simon's real busy, so you know, I need something to do while I'm waiting for that.
Yeah.
So in which case, I'm fitting the intercooler up. I think I'm decided with the chickens on the end of it. Is what I'm going to do is stick it upside down, just simply so I can shorten the pipes a little bit.
Yeah.
And there's slightly more clearance on the underside for a bumper bar. The last thing you want to do is take a small knock and basically wipe out £1,000 worth of stuff in the front of your car.
Yeah.
You know, when you, that was horrible. When you've got, you know, like intercooler, radiator, oil cooler, like, you know, one bump can just really spoil your day, plus the bumper, plus the light.
Yeah.
So it needs a bar in there.
Yeah. And it can happen in drifting. We're literally inches off other people's doors, and occasionally things do happen.
It's not an if, it's a when.
Yeah.
Like if it's not a when, then you're not trying hard enough. Like, you know.
So you heard that, audience. Every time you ever go at me for crashing, it's because I'm just trying too hard.
Yeah, you've got to be brave. Normally, you know, the S-body thing is the intercooler's out here, the radiator's back here, the air comes in, hits the intercooler, and then goes off down
Kind
on
of
these gaps.
disperses it, yeah.
Yeah, just disperses it. So
You need a way of sort of channeling the air.
yeah, you want about, you know, an inch or two between the intercooler and the rad, because obviously you don't want heat transfer the other way either. And then basically what you can do is, I normally stick like a little plastic edge on, and then put foam. So just fill the gap with like, you know, a foam effectively. If you look at your Sylvia radiator at the top, it's already got that foam in there to make that seal. So all you're doing is sealing everything. So when the air comes in, there's only one way it can go.
So effectively just channels it in one direction.
Yeah, you can lose like 15, 20 degrees of running temperature on that, which is a massive difference. Yeah.
Same thing why people effectively run radiator cooling panels to try and sort of channel
Exactly.
the airflow.
I've got one sat in the car, ready and waiting for this thing. These actually come with like a massive. See, there's a massive gap here. So there is actually a huge piece of foam that just sits there.
Yeah.
Which is a bit weird. And then the airbox comes out here, but obviously we don't need any of that stuff. Yeah. The biggest problem I think is going to be putting the air filter somewhere. I've got one of those. I'm a sucker for these on an SR. There you go. I'm a sucker for the Blitz.
Blitz SUS. Same
They
as
just
what I'm running.
They
now.
just sound the best.
Yeah. The SR's going to sit here. Turbo's going to sit here.
Yeah.
Intake track.
Intake
Filter.
track, filter. So hopefully the theory is I can put an oil cooler around here somewhere, and then an intake duct here, and then another intake duct from here, because there's a big old hole in the bumper, which if you look up that way on the shelf, is sat up there. So ignore the silver mesh. Everyone hates the mesh. But
Let me just run through the spec of the car, because there's some quite impressive bits on it. We haven't really been through the whole thing.
okay.
First thing is the brakes, man, because they are pretty goddamn sexy.
I got lucky. I got lucky to find
Very
those.
lucky.
So you can still buy TRD brakes. It has genuine TRD brakes, and you can still buy the normal setup, which is the 4-piston front and a 2-piston rear, and they're really good. I stumbled across a set of 6-piston front and 4-piston rear.
Let's have a quick look, man.
Yeah.
And these definitely aren't Brembos with a TRD sticker on them.
No. Well, actually, they are. Yeah. Effectively, Brembo.
They're made by Brembo.
Brembo make them for TRD, but there's a different spec on them as well. So these are actually the TRD ones. You can buy the Brembo caliper, but the TRD ones are valved for this car. So that is the TRD setup that's on. TRD have a race car called the TRD Griffin, which is, I think it's like 260 horsepower.
Yeah.
And it does, for any JDM nerds that watch the sort of Tsukuba Super Lap, it's like, if you imagine a stock R34 GTR does like a minute 4, minute 5.
What's this, like early 50s or something?
57.
Crazy.
NA, which is ridiculous.
250 horsepower, mad.
Yeah, it's completely crazy.
Yeah.
And actually, the Scuba record now is held by HKS's GT86,
Really?
which is 47.
40s now, yeah.
it's
When last time I watched,
crazy.
there were sort of Evos were doing like 52s and stuff, and that was mental.
I remember when someone did a 58, and it was mind blowing.
Crazy, man.
But
and are they a two-piece? Are they a two-piece disc as well?
they are a two-piece disc, yeah. So same on the rear. You see, because of the silly stuff on here, that's the massive spacer in there to make everything work, because the Blitz arches are massive.
Yeah. What wheels are these?
These are Cosmos, what are they called? R1s, that's it.
Okay.
And I got those from Walton Motorsport, so Mike at Walton Motorsport hooked me up on those.
Sweet.
What
are you thinking long term with the wheels? Are you going to stick with these, or are you thinking of changing?
I've got
undecided.
I've got a plan. I've got a plan.
Are we going to keep it secret for now?
I think so, yeah. Because the look of the car is going to be quite different when it's finished.
Yeah.
So, you know, there's a couple of things like...
We'll leave it exciting for the audience.
Yeah. I mean, I tell you what bits I've got, but just... I think the actual finished look is something that's like, it rolls out and there it is, and it's... You know.
Don't worry, guys. I know it looks like he's got some wacky fitment going on, but the wings are not on the car.
No.
We've actually got Blitz wings.
Yeah, they're laying over there.
And these little, I don't know what you call them, winglets. They're not from Blitz, are they?
I think you'd call them like an aero diffuser
or
something to that. They're TRD. Not genuine.
And they're
it's
not?
the only thing I don't have genuine, and I'm really upset with myself because I'm very much an advocate of buying genuine parts.
Yeah, we can tell, man.
But the TRD ones are like 450 quid.
Oh, that's crazy.
And that's ridiculous.
Yeah. I must admit, once you've got the wings on, they actually match up with the wings really well. It's almost like they're meant to be together.
They really swoop together. And oddly enough, I saw Fendsport has the same ones on their own car, because Fendsport's demo car is the same kit as this. I saw that, I was like, I've got to have them.
It's pretty unique, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's pretty out there as far as GT86 kits go.
Oh, definitely, it's wild. And you don't see them, you know, it's not a Rocket Bunny. I did almost buy Rocket Bunny, and then this kit came up and I couldn't help myself, something different.
Just show us the rear fenders quickly.
Yeah.
I like your, I like these little extensions on the side skirts as well. It's quite like my GP Sports kit on my S15. I've got these, they're pretty sexy.
Yeah.
Do you find on yours you get a lot of stone chips down the sides?
Yeah, loads.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's because the track on the front, it just fires everything down, so...
That's the only sort of downfall with having these slightly sort of wider kits, but they do look absolutely
And then you
savage.
get mud and bits. I'm pretty sure that when I start drifting this, like, it's just going to try and chop its own arch off with bits of tyre and stuff, so...
Probably great down a smooth highway in California, not so great on the back roads of England.
I don't know, I'll give it a go.
What about the rear? Are you going to keep the stock spoiler?
I'm thinking about chopping it in with another wing I got from Chunk from Team Legless.
Yeah.
And he basically had sat in his garage, as we all do, a genuine Sard wing. So like $2.5 grand.
Like GT
like
wing.
full on, it's like 1.7 meters wide. It sits out as wide as the arch, so it's crazy. He did that for a really nice price. So I'm gonna put that on. It's not going to be one of these big roof. I'm known, if for anything, you know, if it's anything, it's low mount drag wings, you know. So it's going to sit, you know, pretty low, pretty far back.
Yeah.
And
I
then,
kind of like it when they sit on the back and the end plates sort of come down the side of the car at the back. That looks quite neat.
There's going to be a little bit of that.
Yeah.
Not too much of that, but a bit of that.
We'll wait and see. Sounds exciting, man.
And then the rear we're going to chop out, probably make some kind of diffuser or other under there. And I don't know. I bought myself, because obviously this is a very new car and I want to use it on the street. So unfortunately, to do that, you need a catalytic converter. So obviously the GT86 one, the pipe is this big and
You've actually got to
not gonna
pass
work.
quite strict emissions.
It has. But what I managed to get, which is around here somewhere, is a sports cat.
Yeah.
But I got it from Muzzy again at Jack West Mods. He just had it laying around. I'm like, I need that. And so I've got a sports cat. You know, it's 3-inch diameter. It should be plenty for this. And it
Effectively
shouldn't
like a
jump
high
too
flow
much.
cat, basically.
Yeah, but the cool thing about having a cat like that is normally they're up the middle of the exhaust somewhere. So with this, I'm going to make it the back box. So what you see behind the car is like a glowing fireball the whole time. And any fuel that does get to it, it just sets on fire straight away. It's like the old rally car nail trick. You know that one?
Rather than leaving
Drill
it
a
really
hole,
far
put
up
in
the
it, yeah.
system. That's cool.
So yeah, it should flame, and if it doesn't flame, it'll look like it's got a permanent glow stick out the back of it. Or something,
Cool.
so.
Obviously, you're going to be running your pretty badass fully forged SR20. What about things like the gearbox?
Well, I think, like I said previously with the Koyo Rad, there's a couple of things that with an SR I just swear by. You know, I've driven SR. Driven SRs like 20 years. I've only ever blown one up, and it's because I sort of follow a set of rules. One is the Koyo Rad, 2 is Nismo thermostat, 3 is a decent oil cooler, but 4, probably the most important for any SR powered car, is the clutch. And you really need decent clutch. The only one I will run personally is Nismo. So I use a Nismo Super Copper Mix.
That's single plate or twin plate?
For this, it'll be a twin. Single plate will do about 470, and then the twin plate is rated at 600. So because this car will eventually climb in power, I might as well put the twin plate in now, and then it's future-proof. So, but that Super Copper Mix clutch is what protects your driveline. It's still
sprung loaded.
It is, and so you get really good clutch feel. Not harsh engagement. You can still slip it if you need to do some half clutching and that type of thing.
Yeah.
But it won't. You know, if you want it to engage, it's on. It won't slip. But it's very gentle on the driveline. So
That is a bit of a danger with these SR. Are you not using an SR box?
to start with, we're going to use an SR box, just a normal 5-speed, and part of protecting that box is using that clutch. So the last time this engine ran around 400 and something horsepower, I used the single plate Nismo Super Copper Mix stock box, and it ran the whole season, never blew a box, never had an issue. The diff is going to be a Tomei 2A, and the drive shafts, unfortunately you have to spend a lot of money on those. So they're made by the drive shaft shop through Fendsport, and they're £1,000. The same ones that like Frederick Asbo uses, Dai Yoshihara, or everybody uses the same ones. But I know for sure, well, I don't know about Dai, but certainly Frederick, his car in Norway, he uses the 1,000 horsepower version, whereas I'll use the 600 because he's running 2J, it's a lot more torque.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that should cover the driveline, and then hopefully, if I win the lottery, I'll put a sequential in it. that's my dream.
But
the
for
sequential
now, just stock SR 5-speed.
Stock SR 5-speed, Nismo clutch. All the back end is like modern new components, so it should be fine. Should be fine. Every little bit's going to be an adventure. There's a lot of things that are going to come out from this.
So hopefully next episode the audience can really look forward to actually seeing the SR20 start to be put inside the car.
I hope so, because I'm really excited about that as well. Because once it's in there, something's really happening. At the moment, it's all theory.
Yeah.
So yeah, next episode, hopefully we'll have the engine in the car. If not, we will certainly have the engine in bits, and you can see what the inside of a very serious forged SR looks like.
Cool, right?
There's some secrets in there. Some secrets. I don't know what they are. That's why they're secret.
Cool, man. Much exciting content coming up.
Beautiful. Bye. Bye.